Should you be picking your own large cap, mid cap, small cap funds, sector funds, thematic funds, put it all together and invest that way? Or should you leave that decision to a fund manager of a multi-asset fund? I repeat, should you leave that decision to a multi-asset fund? Now, let's say you take the first approach. You're going to pick your own large cap, your own debt fund, your own gold fund, and then eventually some of these underperform. You have to rebalance. It's a difficult thing to do. There are a couple of reasons why it's difficult. One is that the consistency of funds is often not there. A fund will do well for 3 years, then badly for another 3 years, then well again. And often the rebalancing happens after a fund has had a good run. One tends to pick the funds which have done well in the recent past. And even sophisticated systems like rolling returns, somehow or the other tend to gravitate towards the past performance of funds. So that's the first problem. Second problem is tax. Whenever you rebalance between funds, there is either short-term or long-term gains tax. And the third problem is emotions, because when you have to pay tax, actually go out and credit that money to the government, you will more often than not do nothing. You will accumulate a long tail of legacy frozen funds that you simply can't do anything about. And the presence of a distributor or advisor does not change that much this problem, because ultimately decision rests with you as the investor. The second approach, which is multi-asset investing, leave it to the fund manager, takes these things out of your hand. So when to rebalance between the funds happens inside that multi-asset fund. Tax, of course, is not applicable because it's happening inside the fund. Emotions don't come into play because you're not being asked every time this is being done. A lot of people say that, well, that guy, that fund manager does not know what your risk profile is, what your goals are. And while that is a valid criticism for someone who has a lot of goals carefully mapped out, most of us have some short-term goals and then most other goals which are broadly long-term. So let's say I want to put my kid into college at the end of 15 years from now, and I want to buy a house at the end of 10 years. These are both long-term goals. I don't necessarily need two different portfolios of funds for them. A multi-asset might do just as well. So think carefully. This is a lesson of 2025, given how you've seen assets rotate in and out, where at one time small cap was the hero, gold and silver have become the heroes of 2025. Should you be doing this yourself, or should you be outsourcing it to a fund manager of a multi-asset fund who is doing that rebalancing tax efficiently?